And welcome everyone to the MSL Platinum Division. This is Season 2 and we are here in the Grand Finals. We are here obviously on ocnLogan Wastes. You can tell this by Pride Rock. Check it out there. And in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the green Zerg player, Balefire. Now Balefire actually played his way up through the losers bracket after losing to EQBisu early on in the round of 8. In this tournament. So, with that said, we move down into the bottom right-hand corner of the map. We have the red Protoss player, EQBisu. Check it out. So, previously, based on the games that I've watched out of EQBisu, I have the advantage of having seen some of his games previously, obviously in the winners bracket finals and semifinals, and he seems to heavily favor the two-base style aggression, and this map right here is very well suited to that type of aggression. This is ocnLogan Wastes. It's got a pretty small choke into the natural, so it's very easy to take. And if you need to, you can also knock down these rocks and Pride Rock over here to create that full wall off and take that additional base. And so it's actually very easy to get up to 3 bases on this map, but any of the ones after that generally become a little bit more difficult to hold. So we're going to see if EQBisu goes for an expand type build. As of right now, it looks like he should be. He's banking up quite a bit of minerals. He's going to throw down 1 pylon, and then probably he's going to go with an 18 Nexus, if I had to guess. Where's he just going to go? He's going to do it a little bit early. 17 Nexus. Wait for it. Got it. We have a little bit of a scuffle up here. Balefire is really wanting to get that expansion down. He knows that it's coming up for his opponent, but EQBisu is doing a great job harassing, getting that, look at that, keeping that blocked. What Balefire should be doing is pulling down another drone to really help run off this additional probe. But as it happens, once the shields go down, the probe decides that it's probably better off running away. I would actually have been a really big fan of taking some of those minerals home. Insult to injury, I blocked your hatchery and then stole some of the minerals. Really would have liked to have seen that. Now EQBisu is still being active, running around on the map. We do see the forge, so it was a Nexus Forge expand. That should be pretty safe. What that means is that Balefire has all the time in the world to do whatever he'd like, as there's not going to be any aggression until almost no units. Until roughly 5 to 6 minutes. No stalkers, for sure, until around 6 minutes. So I would not be surprised at all to see him drone up really heavily. And also, he probably should take an additional base to make sure he gets that larva increase and the additional drones out early on enough to be able to really counteract the aggression that will be coming from EQBisu once he gets that this base up and running. So look for an attack from EQBisu somewhere around 8 to 10 minutes, generally, if you know, it stays pretty standard. I like the Overlord placement here from Balefire, getting those in early. I don't know, actually, if Balefire knows that those exist. So it's a good thing to always have that option, to be able to throw down basically a suicidal scout. If you need to know what's going on, you can take this Overlord right here and run out and check to see what tech and gas have been taken here, and oh good, taking that extra expansion. Or the one over here and run in on the side. So we do have both gas geysers down in the main for EQBisu. We do have 2 already down, or no, just 1 down for Balefire. Looking at production, we do see a few more lings out, which is a little bit surprising, but I guess in light of these rocks, he's going to try to take those down. But I think it's a correct decision to take this expansion here, particularly if he can get some decent creep spread. As this map does have a lot of different counterattack paths, it also does have some decent narrow chokes that things like Colossi can abuse. Generally, I would say that this is a pretty good map for faster units, and as long as this creep spread comes down and touches this base, you should be doing pretty much fine. We do have some upgrades going down. Warp Gate, +1, nothing too crazy. Still no additional gases taken at this natural by EQBisu. To me, that says he's wanting to macro up a little bit longer. He wants to get enough money to throw down those 6 or 7 or maybe even 8 gateways that we've seen him favor before. Excellent job continuing to scout, wanting to confirm that this is in fact a base, and it is. And these rocks take absolutely forever for Zerglings to kill. 3 armor, 2,000 hit points, and 5 attack means a long time. Double ups going down for Balefire. Really like this type of play, but to do this you generally need to have at least 4 gas geysers, so I'd be expecting to see that go down here pretty quickly. I'm also a little bit surprised we don't have more drones out. Looking at the units tab, it's 34 drones to 40 probes. A lot of those going into Zerglings that, I mean, are taking out rocks and doing things like that, keeping a small contingent. But all of these are not drones. So with the number of Zerglings that are out on the field, as I move away from the thing I want, that could be 7 more drones. That would help out quite a bit. And here come those additional gas geysers. Good thing there. And additional gas now from EQBisu as he's now starting to invest in all those tech buildings. Twilight Council coming in. It will... interesting to see if he goes for Charge or Blink. Based on his previous play, I think I would go with Blink. It looks like he might do an Immortal Sentry all-in, or some variation of that. For those that don't know, the Immortal Sentry all-in was how you were supposed to basically play PvZ as the Protoss player towards the end of Wings of Liberty. It's still a very viable build, but it's not... If the player scouts it correctly, they should be able to hold it off, as the Zerg have pretty well adapted to that crazy different type of playstyle. So... that's all I got to say about that. Food counts looking pretty even. EQBisu though has a solid lead, and remember, generally Protoss players, again in a PvZ, they can be down even by a decent percentage. You know, sometimes at 20 or 30 towards when the Zerg player is getting maxed out, and the engagements can still go in favor of the Protoss because the high-tech Protoss army. And so I'm a little bit worried for Balefire. Once all of these, there we go. Surprised there's no Blink being researched yet. Also, this other forge not being utilized, love to see that additional, there we go, upgrading all the things. And also, this creep spread's just not been there. He's needed some additional queens, but he's been just a little bit broke. So now we've gotten past the 10-minute mark, which is when I said that we might see some aggression out of EQBisu, and it looks like it's because he went for a little bit higher tech army, and so it's just coming out a little bit later. Not terribly later, but... usually you'll see gateway-based attacks coming out around 8 minutes, and robo-based attacks coming out a little bit longer. Also, right now, there's no probe with this army, so this is not going to be a sustained attack. This is instead going to be just kind of a little poke out with the ability to recall if anything crazy happens. The probe... So, the sentries here are here basically to keep the pricey immortals and stalkers alive. That's exactly what their purpose is. They zone out the Zerglings and roaches. We do have +2/+2 going down for Balefire, but that's not going to hit before this attack comes. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Also, Lair is here, Spire is here, but there's no sort of hatchery or hive on the way, so there's not any additional tech, nothing to pull any really powerful units in. And now with the Warp Prism, this attack gets much scarier as he can reinforce immediately. So you see it here. Check it out. Some additional stalkers going very stalker heavy, which is a little bit interesting against this number of Zerglings. If he can get a good surround, this could go really well for Balefire. But it really depends on the force fields here. I'd really like to see them split up a little bit further. Oh, lagging a little bit out. Oh my goodness. Okay, so decent force fields, but the Zerglings here getting pretty close. But it looks like EQBisu cleans that one up handily, although we do have 22 more Lings on the way, and 2 more Mutas. Mutas, not sure how I feel about Mutas at this point in time. They do lots of... they're really good for harassing, but not really good for direct engagements, especially when there's the opportunity to have Guardian Shield, anything like that. Ooh, this is another painful engagement for Balefire. He's forced a little bit to commit right there, but to be honest, I would have liked to have seen him pull back and be a little bit more patient there, as he just threw away a whole bunch of Lings that didn't really need to die. And he wants to get that surround. He wants the units off of the ramp. He wants to be able to get a really good engagement. But it looks like EQBisu is just going to walk right in. The 2-base aggression that we've seen from him time and time again, these Mutas not going to be able to do near enough damage to that number of Blink Stalkers, and they're going to be taken out almost immediately. They're going to run, hopefully, and run across the map, try to counterattack, but I think that'll be just too little too late. Looking at the workers killed, we have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 workers killed from EQBisu, and it's now 63 to 140. We do have 18 more lings in production, but with +2 on these zealots, zerglings melt quite quickly. Also, he could have thrown down some spine crawlers here, or something like that. He does have +2/+2 actually on his units. I just think there's not near enough of them. He engaged with partial portions of his army. This is a good move here with the Mutas picking off this warp prism, going to make sure that nothing else could come, but I think at this point it was pretty obvious. So game number 1 is going to go to EQBisu, but remember this is a best of 7, so we might get to see some pretty more exciting PvZ action. So stay tuned, we'll be back with another game in just a little bit.